Hey everybody, this is Tamara. I wanted to do a quick video to talk about fear, just because this is a question that people write to me a lot. It's in surveys, it's in sessions, and often the question is, how do I know if it's a real fear I'm having, a fear that should stop me from doing what I want to do? Usually the question's about wanting to expand into a new area in your life and do something new, and basically having the courage to do it. And fear is a really fascinating thing because, the human system is built to to ward off danger. First of all, we scan. We're always scanning, scanning for signs of danger. And also, we're encouraged to stay part of the flock, stay part of the group mind, stay part of what's socially acceptable and what other people think. That's why we're always checking in. I wonder what they think of me. I wonder what they think of me. I wonder what they would say to do. And so these are just habits and patterns that we develop as we socialize. And so whenever you want to, one thing that happens to each of us is we become habituated. The human mind is kind of, it's a lot like a computer sometimes. It likes to hold a pattern. It likes to, because the most efficient thing for your mind to do when you're thinking a thought is to think, to gather the evidence of where it thought that before. The last time I did that, this happened. And so it gets very, habituated. We get habituated, and it's normal. It's just how our brains work. So we kind of program ourselves to stay inside a certain way of being. And then when we get restless and bored and we want to expand beyond that, there's a part of us that says, oh no, stoplight, caution, yellow, do not cross, do not do this, do not do this thing. So that's something you can expect every single time you want to do something new, accept or receive more love, be seen and heard in a new way. You're going to have those little warning signs, those pop-ups that happen. And there's also another thing that contributes to the feeling of fear that we each can experience is believing that the world has the answers. Now, the world has a lot of information in it, but a lot of the information has a negative energy to it, right? I call this psychic smog. And it's an energy that is, when we draw from psychic smog for our reality, basically we start to feel fearful about anything we might do that we haven't already experienced. We're already wired to get that way. And there's tons of information being pumped out into the world, cautionary tales and, just negative information that is not necessarily true for you. And you may be tapping into something you've heard might be dangerous or hard or just difficult or not worth it, or might, leave you, injured socially or emotionally or physically, and it may or may not be true. That's why your inner guidance system is so important, and I call it that lightness of being, right? It's that check-in with yourself. Does the fear that you feel when you think of doing this exciting new thing feel like exhilaration? Because physiologically, you're experiencing it in the body the same way. So I really invite you to not be fearful of things that you have no information about, especially if you're just drawing on psychic smog. And always want to check in with your inner guidance system to see how that really feels to you. Is that a message from your own spirit saying, grow beyond your limits, grow into the next phase of your life, the next chapter? Now, if there's a rattlesnake in the road in front of you, you might stop and you might question that. You might say, could be some danger here. But if it's just something that you've received a cautionary tale from someone, you might want to check in with your inner guidance system. When I moved to Los Angeles to do some acting work, I was told by a lot of people who had no experience acting that it was a very difficult road. And that's an example of information you might want to question. Just consider the source, get grounded in the moment, and find out what is your truth, because that's where your spirit's going to speak to you about your next steps and how to be all you can be. So I hope this video has spoken to something that's been coming up for you. I know I've just had a lot of questions lately about fear and what to pay attention to and what not to. Write me back with your questions and your comments, and I'd love to know how you're doing with this issue of fear in your life.